Why do you want to be a decoy? Why do you want to do decoy work? Or what is it about decoy work that catches your attention? I'm going to get this chapter, and this little episode is going to be off of one of the chapters on my book, The Decoy Book, which is a book that I wrote with the help of very talented helpers, decoys in the industry, ranging from IGP decoys or Schutzen decoys to PSA decoys to ring decoys and police protection training decoys. So the book is a it's a compilation of their experience, questions that I asked them, plus some information on here that if you're kind of new to decoy work, or even if you're not new, I believe you'd find it helpful. But that's what the book is about essentially, and I'm going to be covering this chapter right here. Why do you want to be a decoy? What is it about it that catches your attention? A lot of people find it very interesting, and over the years, I've noticed that there have been people that have shown interest to an extent, and then they fizzle out. They don't really want to do it anymore. They realize it's more work than they expected. And I've also seen people that showed interest, really got into it, and just excelled and did amazing at it. So each person has their own trajectory, and some of them, when they get into it, I mean, they go gun ho. They really, really get in. It's very, very cool to watch the progression and the trajectory of someone that is starting out kind of new. They're asking for help. They're wanting to learn, and you can see them just go up to the ranks. I know here in Texas alone, there's a handful of these people that have done amazing, and they just did it on their own with determination, with grit and consistency and persistence. So great on them. And there are a lot of people that are that way, but there are also people, like I mentioned earlier, that show interest, they get interested, they want to do it, but then they fizzle out. And so I'm gonna discuss why that could happen. And if you are the one that is maybe considering doing this, is something you want to do, I'm going to explain a little bit about why you might want to do that and some things to consider as you get in this journey of doing decoy work or learning decoy work. And so this episode is not going to go into a ton of details. There are other episodes that I've made that I've taken chapters off of this book. So if the episode here brings things up that you're not familiar with, I suggest you go to my YouTube channel. The handle is Dog Training is My Passion. Go to my playlists and look up the Decoy Book playlist. And I have the summary and a bunch of videos that I've made on that book. The audiobook is also on there. So the audiobook is free. It's on YouTube. So again, the handle is Dog Training is My Passion. Also, if you just go to the search bar on YouTube and you look up the Decoy Book, and then right next to that you put Dog Training is My Passion, you hit search, you're going to see either the playlist, the audiobook, and a bunch of the other videos I've made on this book. So if you run into something during this episode that you don't understand, go to do that and you'll get much more information on it. In this particular episode, I'm going to discuss the why. All right, so I'm going to read a little bit about it. I'm going to add my 2 cents as I go. So all the successful decoys that I've talked to in general, but also the people that I talked to for the book, okay, they had to ask themselves this question, and everybody I talked to, very fascinating. If you read the book, if you've read the book, you'll see that each person had their own story, their own little anecdotes on how they got started, and some of it is a little bit amusing, some of it is very interesting, but all of these guys that are amazing at what they do now, I mean, there are tons of experience, have made a name for themselves in the dog training industry that started because they were doing some decoy work. It's fascinating what they've turned into and how these little stories that sound even a little bit amusing, some of them, how those things, those experiences turn them into what they are now. So everybody had to ask themselves, why do I want to do this, right? Some of them were put in that situation. Some of them were put in that position because maybe there was some lack of helpers, lack of decoys, and they stepped up to the plate. And some of them really wanted to do it. Some of them were groomed into it at a young age. There is a decoy here, a PSA trial decoy that I interviewed for this book, and his name is Sean Thunkachan. I hope I didn't butcher his name. But he started decoying at a very young age because his father trained protection dogs. So it was sort of part of his upbringing. And he realized that this was something he really wanted to do. And he is one of the really go-to well-known decoys in the sport. He's also in the book. So again, everybody had their own different reasons, right? Doing decoy work has many of appeals. It's physical. It provokes interest and admiration, right, from the person that wants to do this. It has plenty of appeals to it. It's bad. It looks badass. Okay, it's one of the reasons I wanted to do it years ago. I was like, this looks really freaking cool. It's an adrenaline rush. So it's a really, really exciting activity looking from the outside in. And each decoy I interviewed for this book, right, just like them, you have to determine why you want to do it. And the why is pretty important. It sounds pretty cliche. Right? It sounds like a motivational video, but it's not. But truly, the why is very important. And the reason I say that is, if you're just kind of doing it because, I just think it'd be cool to do it, it's not enough of a reason typically to sustain it. Unless maybe you start as it might be cool to do it, but then you get hooked on it, right? If you really get hooked on it, then yes, then that could possibly lead you into really getting into it. But why could be a number of reasons, right? Maybe you want to, you really want to get good at this. Maybe you've been watching this for a long time and you find that when you do it, you just can't get enough of it. And it just gives you that adrenaline rush. Maybe the why is because you want to help out your club. You want to help out the dogs that you work with. Maybe your why is you want to better understand what is taking place with your dog when you're working with your dog. It could be a number of things. Maybe your why is you want to create some brand recognition around your name, right? That could be your why, and there's nothing wrong with that. Each reason is valid. Each reason is important. It doesn't matter why I want to do it versus why you want to do it. If somebody wants to do it because they just like the attention, well, so be it. Let them do it. As long as they are genuine about the work that they put into it, and as long as they're thoughtful about what they do, who cares? Maybe they want to do it because they like the videos, they like the tags, they like the attention, whatever. Maybe they like the way they look. It doesn't matter why, but if they persist, they're conscientious about the way they're doing it. They at the end of the day, they want to preserve and give your dog the best possible experience. We don't really care why they want to do it. So same thing for you. If this is something you want to do, look at it and really think about it. And here's why you want to think about it. Decoy work is hard on your body. Okay, when you're young, and I know this because I was young, very young at one point, and this is where when you're young, you're full of piss and vinegar, right? You feel invincible. You don't feel any aches and pains whatsoever, typically when you're young, when you're in your 20s. And this is normally when people really want to get into it. I know that was the case. That was the case for me. So if you don't have a good enough reason as to why you want to do it, and you just kind of nonchalant and lackadaisical about it, what happens is you're putting your body at at a lot of potential risk. Maybe not immediate danger, but possibly for long-term, long-term minor aches and pains that are going to surface years later. I know that's the case for me. So if you're just kind of laxed about it, then what happens is you're engaging in an activity that may possibly not be beneficial to you at all. A lot of the decos that I've talked to, okay, a lot of the decos that I know, not just for the book, but in general, most of us have some sort of aches and pains from decoy work. But to us, at least to me, I look at it as it's a contact sport. I enjoy doing it. Okay. I've been doing it for a long time. And even though I don't have the same level of crazy intensity about the activity, and even though I don't have the same the same level of excitement when I do it, I still enjoy it. Okay, my particular reason is I like to see the progress. I like to work the dog. I like to develop the dog. I don't really care for the flashiness of it. Okay, earlier in my career, yeah, that was a big component, right? The flashiness and the adrenaline. Now I don't really care for the adrenaline. I don't really care for the flashiness. I like to troubleshoot and I like to progress and I like to see the dog progress. That to me is incredibly satisfying. So that is my why now, and it evolved. But the thing is, if you don't have that, you're just kind of wasting, you're wasting energy, you're wasting mechanics, you're wasting movement, and you're doing that just at the expense of your body for no reason. So if you don't have that, oh, this is why I really want to do it, what happens is you're not helping yourself out. Possibly you're not helping anybody else out. Now, if your why is because your training director said, "Hey, put this on," it's kind of part of the deal, and your training director is probably not going to put you in harm's ways, right? I know for my club, I utilize my helpers in a way that is even, it's evenly distributed, and it's appropriate to what I gauge they can do. So I don't have my inexperienced egos that I know don't necessarily love it. I don't have them do the crazy shit. I have them help out to the best of their capacity. So there's sometimes this sense of obligation, which I understand. Running a club, we need decoys. And so sometimes, it's a responsibility. We do it because we're part of a club. We want to help each other out. I'm helping you out as much as you're helping me out. And it can't just be a one-way assistance, right? It can't just be me giving all of it and you just taking. So in my club, everybody helps out in one shape or form. And a lot of that is decoy work that is appropriate to what you can do. We're not abusing anybody, but it is appropriate. So the why might be just, I'm just doing it because it's sort of an obligation. Well, then that's fine. Then at least pay attention, because that might be your why. Because if you really didn't want to do it, if you said, no, well, screw it, I'm not doing it, then it's simple. You just don't have to come to the club. You can either help out in another manner that is equally beneficial to the club, or if you don't want to help out at all, and on top of that, you are very reluctant and resistant to taking some minor bites here and there, or even just putting a suit on so that we can train the upper level dogs with distractions. If you're unwilling to do those things, then it's simple. You can still say no and then go somewhere else. There's nothing wrong with that. So your why, right? Even if the why is it's a sense of obligation, well, then do it for that, right? Then do it for your club. But if you're just doing it just because I think it looks cool, I just want to do it for the gram, I want to do it for the videos, I want to do it for the pictures, trust me, it's not sustainable. You're going to be like a lot of the people that do it for that reason for a little bit. They fizzle out. They realize they don't want to do it. And now, worse, they just wasted their time and they possibly accrued some minor injuries that they're going to feel later, years down the road. So for that reason, it's important that you really evaluate yourself as to why you want to do it. If you're gung-ho about it, hey man, that's great. That's amazing. Like I said, there are some people that really get into it, and it's the stepping stone, it's the catalyst to launching their career in this industry, which is amazing. Now in the book I do say, you don't want to just be the person putting on the sleeve or putting on the bite suit, because in that case you're just a prop. And in the book I say you don't want to be just a prop, you want to be a helper. It's funny, every time, and this is normal for everybody, you could write something down that you feel really strongly about, and then years later, you're going to reread that and you're going to go, I would write it differently now. I would write it slightly different now. I would use different words. I would clarify a little bit more. And that happens to me all the time. Every time I read my books, every time I kind of go back for reference, or I want to go back so I can make a video like this, I end up looking at it and going, I should have worded that different, or I should have clarified. So what I'm going to clarify now is this. I kind of, in the book, I kind of go, you don't want to be a prop. But if you're part of a club, you might be incredibly valuable as a prop. Okay, yeah, if you want to do deco work, you don't want to just be a prop and go, hey, put this sleeve on, put this jacket on, and let's just do some bites. You don't really want to do that. You want to pay attention. You want to really get into it, and you want to hopefully learn. But in some instances, the club does need props. In some instances, I just need you to put on a suit, grab a couple of sticks, shake them around, and make some noise for the upper level dogs. So nothing wrong with that. Okay, I would have clarified that if I was writing this. I would have clarified that. If I was writing it now, I would have added that. Nothing wrong with being a prop. But if your goal is, I want to be a decoy, but you're not putting the effort into learning and being more than just a prop, that's when it could become a problem. So then in general, decoy work is definitely a journey. You contact a club. That's one of the best ways to get that decoy work. Okay, and a lot of clubs will welcome you if you want to decoy, but a lot of clubs will invest their time to helping you if they notice that you are serious about it. If you just want to come in for a couple of bites for for some videos here and there, and you're not really consistent, you end up being more of a liability than anything else, because now we have to babysit you, we have to watch you. We know that you don't really care about this, and you're not going to last in that club. And very likely, the club is just going to tell you, hey, man, we should really just cut ties. I think you should go somewhere else. Now, some clubs will welcome you with open arms because they're just interested in using you and abusing you. If you go to certain clubs, hey, do you guys need a decoy? They'll tell you, yes, come over here. Just put this jacket on, go over there, 100 feet. We'll send a dog your way. So in some places, you might fit right in, but again, at what cost? Now it's at your expense. So really put the effort into it and be patient. I'm going to reiterate again, if you want to do decoy work, one of the best ways to get the most experience, one of the best ways to get the mechanics, to get the hours, is by going to a club. Now, when you go to these clubs, if they welcome you to visit and possibly decoy, don't be surprised if right away they're not having you decoy. They might have you watch and learn for a while, because we're trusting you with these dogs. And naturally, we're not going to put a ton of responsibility on you. We'll put you with a dog that is a little bit more experienced to teach you the ropes. But if you're not putting in the effort, if you're not paying attention, and you're just not serious about it, I'm telling you, you're not going to last. You end up becoming more of a liability than anything. And no club, at least most clubs, don't want that. Like I said, some, yes, they'll tell you, put this on and go over there. But in general, most clubs are not down with that. They're not going to be okay with that. So be patient, because you might not take a bite that first meeting. It might be at the end of the meeting if you're lucky, or it might be days later. It might be several weeks later. And some of the people that I've talked to, it might be even months later, because they want to see your commitment to the club. They want to see your commitment to what you're doing. And then as you show that you're understanding the concepts, you're paying attention, you're seeing what they're doing, why they're doing that. And as they notice that you're also showing genuine interest and are showing commitment, then they'll trust you, because it takes trust. They'll start trusting you enough to go and, hey, put this on. You've seen what we've been doing. This is now what I want you to do. Okay? Because the exhibition decoy work, like hey, I just want to take a bite. Yes, we can have you do that, but it's more work on the club. It's more work on our dogs than anything. If you just come because you just want to take a bite, now we have to manage everything. We have to walk you through everything. We have to make sure you're doing it right. We have to make sure the dogs are having a good experience. So the exhibition decoy work mostly benefits you. Like if you're the one who wants to do it just for the sake of putting it on your resume, just for the sake of posting the video, and that's the main reason you want to do it. Yes, a lot of people can help you with that, but again, you end up being more work than anything. So a lot of times these clubs are going to make you wait, because they want to see that commitment. They want to see that you understand, and then you'll get your chance to start decoying. Okay? It depends. Like I said, some places, day one, just to give you an idea of what you possibly want to do. Some places, it might be several sessions down the road. Some places, it might be several months down the road. But at the end of the day, it's about showing commitment and showing patience. Then you get your chance, which is why all of this means you have to have a pretty decent why. Why do I want to do this? Is it just for the exhibition? Well, if it's just for the exhibition, is it worth it for me to wait freaking a month before I do this? Is it worth it for me to get freaking tackled by one of these dogs and have a really bad experience? Well, this is where the why comes in handy. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Share it with somebody else. And like I said, go to the YouTube channel. The audiobook, the entire audiobook is on the YouTube channel. Just look up the Decoy book by William Garrido. And if you want the paperback, if you want the physical copy, go to Amazon. Again, same thing. You can just look up either William Garrido and then hit search, and then it'll give you a list of all the books I wrote. Or you can just put the Decoy book by William Garrido on the Amazon search, and you'll get it there. And if you have the book and you've read it and you found it helpful, I really appreciate it if you could go to Amazon and give me a review. Give me some feedback. But anyway, so that's pretty much it for this episode. See you guys on the next one.